I currently head up growth at Curio, which is an app that curates and narrates content so you can listen to it. We're working with The Guardian, Financial Times, The Economist, The Washington Post, and so on. We pick their best content, turn it into scripts, and then pair it with voice actors. So think Audible, but for journalism. I'm talking to you today because over the last couple of years at Curio and the companies before, I've spent over £1 million on more than 10,000 ads in a whole load of countries on Facebook. Facebook has always been kind of my primary paid acquisition channel. And at the company I was at before, which was called Drinky, we managed to scale over 500% from 2016 to 2017, just primarily using Facebook ads whilst returning a pretty consistent return on investment. So today, we're going to be talking a bit about tracking, audience, and creatives, so just touching a little on a lot of different stuff. So to kick us off, the most important thing that I have learned overall is to get your tracking in place as early as possible. I know it can be really difficult to get time from developers, but it's really urgent. So Facebook's native reporting is pretty limited. If you're running app install campaigns, you can see basically clicks, impressions, and installs. And if you want to know anything beyond that, you have to map it into Facebook. Facebook has a pixel that you can litter pretty much anywhere. You can put it on any page of your website or screens in your app, or on actions, most importantly. So when the pixel fires on a page that you view, on an action that you've done, it sends a signal directly to Facebook. So if you're selling something in your app, you want to put conversion tracking on a point of payment, so then you'll be able to see how successful each of your ads have been for that. Without this tracking, you're going to have to rely solely kind of on your database or on your, main analytics platform, and you won't be able to see. And you might be able to see certain spikes, but you won't be able to see why they've happened or which ads have been causing them or creatives, So, and if you're running ads with a couple of different platforms, I would recommend getting a mobile measurement partner. So if you're working with Facebook, Snapchat, Google, and a bunch of them, because you can see your results all in one place, as well as integrate it with your analytics platform. So at Curio, we are using Mixpanel, and within our MMP platform, in our MMP dashboard, we can just toggle on the integration between those. And that means then in Mixpanel, we'll be able to build funnels based on the channels that people have come through. So whilst we're on tracking, we should talk about app events. So we want to target the people who want it most. So what are app events? An event is a measurable action which can happen in your website or on your app. For example, clicking play on a song, signing up, subscribing, or purchasing. You can map these into Facebook, like I said, so that you can track the performance of your ads. But another benefit that comes with it is the optimization. So when you're putting together your app install campaign, you can optimize on a bunch of different things, like clicks, impressions, video views, and also app events. So if you're optimizing for installs, you might get a lot of different installs because your ads are being shown to the people who want who are more likely to install, but it doesn't mean that they're going to do anything really after that necessarily. But if you're showing your ads to people who are more likely to convert afterwards, your cost per install might be higher, but you'll be receiving higher quality conversions and higher value people. So, which brings us on to the audience. So, a really important thing to do is research your audience, because you might have the best creative in the world that your whole team loves and you're really proud of it, but if you're showing it to the wrong people, it's going to perform badly. So it's really important that you know who you want to target. With some research or using audience insights, you can create a customer avatar or persona. You basically want to know who is your ideal customer, what keeps them up at night, which books do they read, which celebrities do they look up to, where do they hang out online, which websites. And then with this information, you can plan your audiences and creatives to match, and you might be able to find that your brand has a real affinity with another brand, and then it could be good for a partnership that then you can promote through your ads. So yeah, then you'll know it will be really appealing. I had a quick look at a couple of the companies that you might, oh God, that you might have heard of, or that are here today and spent literally 5 minutes putting together some like mock-up ads of what they could be. They're not brand compliant, and they're just a bit of fun. But so Netflix, for example, has a 96% relevance with 96 times relevance with IKEA and 81 times relevance with Pringles. That means if you like Netflix, then you're really likely to like IKEA and Pringles. So maybe it would be good for them to do something with Pringles, like a subscription competition. But something that really stood out for me is that Netflix has a super high affinity score with 50 Shades of Grey. So an ad could be something like this: make your night out a night in. Or Adidas, you can see that they have like a real affinity with pot noodle slurping car movie lovers, but the comedian Lee Nelson really stood out for me in their affinity scores. So Lee Nelson is usually decked out in Nike clothing, but how successful would it be if he was wearing Adidas or sponsored by them for a bit? And then finally, Trainline have a really high affinity with loose women, and no surprises, people like bargains that like the Trainline. So, and another thing they really like is Greggs. So it could be really good to do a campaign with, if you buy a ticket, you get a free sausage roll. But jokes aside, at Curio we saw that Aeon magazine had over 1,500 times affinity with Aeon magazine. So the people that like Curio really like Aeon. So what we did is we approached Aeon and partnered with them to narrate their content, and then now we're running ads to support that, and they're working really well. Another really cool thing about Facebook is that you can use lookalike audiences. So there are a couple of different ways that you can run lookalike audiences. Lookalike audiences are essentially you upload, Facebook can cross-reference lists of people in its database across its entire database to find people who are most similar to that list. So Facebook can get these lists in a couple of different ways. You can upload them straight there, or you can use the app events that I mentioned before to create a custom audience. And once you've made that audience, you can, either by uploading or using the app events, you can create between a 1 and 10% similarity audience within a geography. So I would always recommend using just one country at a time. So don't combine those, and just keep it simple, one country per ad set. Lookalike audiences are just really cool because you're targeting the people who are most similar to the audience that you've specified, so based on their demographics, their internet browsing, their interests. And on top of it being a lookalike audience, you can then drill further behaviors or interests into them, so they're more like you can get really specific. And lastly, we just heard a bit about creatives, but I just want to say that videos and animations really work. So it can be really hard to get time or resources to put together animations, but I'm going to just show you a couple of really simple examples that we've seen a lot of success with. So I want to note that anything that was moving or eye-catching like just really draws people in and allows them to have like a slightly longer dwell time. So to close up, I'm just going to show you a couple of the ads that we've been running and the impacts they've had on our cost per purchase. So these are two ads that we've had running over the last couple of weeks that we've been super happy with their cost per purchases. So we've seen £17.24 to get someone to subscribe and £9.11 to get someone to subscribe. But just adding these small animations here has dropped the cost down to £5.88 and £2.32. So that's about 66% cheaper overall. And just for reference, that's the differences. So yeah, these are not complex. These are just a couple of static images that have been layered together and then like turned into a GIF and then into an MP4. So, and thanks for coming. Woo!